Hello world, we are the Left Hand Grenades, and we are doing a frame by frame of the Call of Duty Black Ops single player trailer.
When we take the intro, we see a ship going.
Supposedly a tanker.
Well, it's an anchored. That's probably a tanker. It looks like a tanker, and it's already anchored. So we're assuming that the obviously the American helicopters are attacking this as it's a offshore base for the Russians, because you can see the Russian flag up there, as well as it skips right into Treyarch. This is obviously a Treyarch game.
Now we're at the seems to be an airplane graveyard with what is A, the map launch and the multiplayer in the background, B, it's also a single player mission, most likely. Here's a little close up of the launch pad. And we see a rocket with a Soviet star on it. So presumably a nuclear missile is being launched by either Russians or someone who's taken over the nuclear missile, which is what happens in every single movie and game.
Well, it is the Cold War, so there's the Russians. And then our next clip here is actually we don't know this character's name for sure, but as you see the Russian gentleman with the eye patch running by, we're putting an assumption that this may be a higher general in the actual game. The actual general is Klizenko?
Kravchenko? It
Klizenko.
could be General Kravchenko. Either way, we're assuming this is going to be a significant character because he has an eye patch, and that's way too memorable to make him just some random dude.
And all the other guys in the background you'll notice are having ski masks on. As for the level, this is possibly the oil tank, the underwater tanker, and the bottom of the map, which we'll show
Could be,
later.
yeah.
I'm just putting that assumption because of all the piping and the explosions that are going on.
It's something water related, yeah.
Then here we have, obviously this is a Cuban shot, and if you look at the car, there's the Spanish police, the Policia Nacional, as well as the Barbera.
We're assuming it's Cuba because it's a confirmed location, and both the barbershop and the police car are marked with in Spanish words. Plus, the guy looks pretty Hispanic, although he does have an M16 in his hand. So could be an American soldier. You never know.
Possibly. And then our next shot goes straight to the Pentagon here. And you're coming in as an airplane, as you see. Then we go to these three wonderful gentlemen.
Yeah, we're assuming it's either going to be a major cutscene, could be even a playable part of the campaign where you're in the Pentagon. We see the crests of the Air Force, the Navy, and the Army, and the Department of Defense on the back wall.
Yep. And if you look at the front guy right here, it looks kind of like he has his Navy pin on his lapel there. We're believing this might be a Navy High Command officer. The second guy in the background, I'm putting an assumption that he's seen some combat. If you look at him, he's a little rugged. He's got his beard going, shaved head, the aviators. He's probably a high commanding Army officer. And then Mr. Sloppy Pants over in the background with his tie all hanging out. We're not too sure who he is, but he could be one of the characters, one and another character that is playable, or even one of the military guys, because he doesn't really look like he's fitting that
He
suit
doesn't
pretty
look like
well.
he belonged, yeah.
Yeah.
Belongs.
And then here is our good old oil tanker underwater. This is.
Yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
We well, it's an underwater complex. We think it could be the Mission Rebirth that's supposed to take place at secret research lab. Could also be where the eye patch man was running previously, like we mentioned.
Yep. And this guy in his hazmat suit. I at first thought this could be napalm that he's getting sprayed with. His face is melting like in Raiders, and he's got a blister. But Mr. Frenris over here has a different opinion.
I don't see too much fire, and it looks like there's gas around them. So I'm assuming this is Nova Six um, gas. Either these are Russian scientists, and Nova Six somehow got released, or it's an American complex under attack. For those of you who don't know, Nova Six is actually a reference to World at War with Nazi zombies. So Nova Gas was one of the components of making zombies.
And they've done this huge alternate reality game where they've sent out messages to certain people in the media, but they sent it out to people like Carbonfish, who was on the Nazi Zombies website, and we're leading to believe. I've read some of this stuff. I'm thinking that it might be related to Nazi Zombies, which actually may tie into the single player part of the game, not just be a separate
awesome.
co-op part. But as for this next guy that we see here, I'm calling this as Reznov.
There's been speculation that this could be Zakhaev. We also know Reznov from previous Call of Duty games, namely World at War, is going to be in this game. We think it's Reznov because he looks way more like him than Zakhaev.
And there is the fact that Reznov was based off of Zakhaev on the engine. His character model is just taken off of Zakhaev's model, so they do look similar, but I'll touch on that later as another character gets shown. Oh, and then there's this ship, and the key thing we want to point out here is the gun the Russian has.
Well, first of all, I think at least we both agree that that's Reznov right there. He looks exactly like the character model from World at War. So it's likely it's Reznov. Secondly, like Rockstar said, he is wielding a PPSH, which is a Russian World War II era gun. Now,
I'm not
considering...
Sorry, not to interrupt you, but I'm not too sure that the Russian guy that's punching the dude is Reznov. I don't think that's him.
I don't know. It looks like him.
It might be.
Either way, he's wielding a World War II era gun, and we know that the game takes place, they're saying sometime 60s onwards. And we can also see that they're on what seems to be an abandoned ship. So, not sure what's going on there.
And it's definitely in the Arctic. If you look at the guy who's getting punched, he has his snowshoes, his ski poles. He's ready to travel through some big snow. He's an Inuit guy right there. Then we got our good old Frank Woods, who is one of the we're kind of seeing him as the Captain Price of the...
Yeah, we consider him the Captain Price of Black Ops.
Then here's another Russian location. There's not a lot going on this one, so we won't touch on it that much other than the helicopters. And we're back at the Pentagon with these two high-ranking officers, we're assuming. And if you see the map down there, there's some red spots. We're having trouble deciding what that exactly is about.
Yeah, the map down there, we're not sure. The map higher up we can see is a Cold War era, Eastern, Western Front kind of deal.
And then this office building is one key thing we want to touch on. If you look at the radioactive symbol in the background, as well as those TVs, there actually is a website called gknova6.com, and it's one of the ARG stuff leading towards the Nazi zombies. And we think this office building might be part of that in the secret lab. There's one quick thing to note on the roof. There's shadow changes. We're not too sure if there's anything special coming out of that, but it could just be lighting, but we're not too sure. And then we got our good old papers.
Yes, we're thinking this entire part of the trailer is related to the Nova gas experiment / Nazi zombies, because all of this has figured in the GK Nova timeline, so to speak.
Yeah. And then one key thing to note on the papers here is the Hanoi Hilton. That was in the Vietnam War. That was literally a torture camp and a POW camp that was operated. I'm not too sure when it was operated by, but the picture itself was taken in the 1970s. It
was North Vietnamese, so.
Yep. Yeah. But the picture itself was taken in the 1970s as an aerial view, so that might suggest to what time frame we see that place, and if we do end up going there. And then here we got Captain Alex Mason getting crossed out. Ooh. And I'm speculating that might be Alex Mason getting tortured by our what looks like the same guy from the beginning, the Army High Command guy.
Yeah, it seems to be the guy we saw in the Pentagon, which is pretty interesting because he's torturing Alex Mason, which is one of the playable characters.
Yeah, and we're assuming that's Alex Mason. We're not fully sure, but we are assuming. But this guy right here, this is going to be Zakhaev if he's in the game.
It just looks too much like him. They'd be foolish to put in someone who looks exactly like a character in the franchise.
He has the exact same dressing as he does in the first Modern Warfare game as well, where it's the black jacket, the army boots, the camo suit, and the striped shirt. The guy to the right, we're not too sure. He may be the same guy that we saw earlier with the eye patch, but we're not too sure.
So we're assuming that Zakhev is going to emerge as a villain towards the end of this game, tying into Modern Warfare 1.
And then we got some secret ops going in a Russian building. The Russians in the front have the Spetsnaz on their backs, where the other ones have the CCCP, which stands for USSR.
Yeah. Which, if you hear the audio overlay, it talks about infiltrating, and so we're assuming that the USSR uniform wearing guys are American soldiers.
And then we got a good old escape scene with the MAL 1887s here. As anybody who plays Modern Warfare 2 should know,
Or if you've seen Terminator 2.
You've seen Terminator 2, yes. And then the two MAG spy planes.
MiG. Yeah, the MiG planes.
Then this guy...
Those are Vietnam-era Russian planes.
And then the gentleman falling. This is WMD map. We already know that's confirmed for one of the maps, and he's just kind of sadly dying and not going to return, probably. Some napalm strikes. A Russian office or base being blown up here. As you see, there's a couple scientists on fire. Everything's falling apart. This may be the launch map, judging by the scaffolding with the lights on it. It's just kind of speculation.
It could be one of the research facilities for Novagas, but yeah, it's a Soviet research facility. It seems like it because there's scientists running everywhere.
Yeah, and then some helicopters, guy falling, and here's a good part is Alex Mason and what I'm assuming is, well, Frank Woods and Alex Mason.
Frank Woods. Yeah.
Coming into a good old game of Russian roulette. And there's a big...
You say pro game of Russian roulette?
Good old game of Russian roulette.
Oh, okay.
And then we have if you look closely, there's a red star on his jacket in the background, and that guy is more than likely Russian if you look at his face here.
Well, yeah, he has just a full Russian beard.
He has a full Russian beard and everything, and he's just waiting for you and your buddy to kill each other. So just a good old time. And then...
It's Vietnam, so it could be associated with Hanoi Hilton.
Yep. And then we got our Black Ops, which comes out on November 9th, and I hope to...
25 days.
I'm going to be buying it. I hope you guys buy it too. And hopefully this gave you some idea of what's going on with the trailers and what's going on with the story, alright? Have a good day.
Thank you very much. See you guys later.